want to start? You want to start where I sort of landed in your house?
That works.
Yeah. So,
So do you want to talk about what led up to that?
yeah. So I lived the script. I married my wife, or I met my wife in college, and figured, well, shit, let's, what everyone gets married, or meet your mate in college, and everyone was getting married, so I proposed early on, and this has been the woman that I've been with since I'm literally 20 or 21 years old. Mm-hmm. And, the marriage has always been a little bit more difficult than probably it needed to be. And, we ended up shitting out a bunch of kids, which made things a little bit more difficult. I've actually got 4 daughters. I love them.
I don't think that's how you do that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't know what you're taught in your state for sex education, but typically kids are not shat out.
Yeah, I sort of skipped class. I don't know. After about 3 kids, I'm like, how does this keep happening to me? I don't get it. I just... But
okay.
Yeah, I have 4 wonderful daughters, and towards the end of my marriage, I found that my wife would, this is around the Facebook time, so she got involved with Facebook, and she would end up just withdrawing, and spending a lot of time, by herself, and me being the kind of guy that sort of doesn't get it. But then after a while, when I sort of figure things out, my antenna goes up. And long story short,
allow me to interrupt. So Dan works in IT and information technology like I do. And, compared to his wife, he just has it all over her with regards to computer prowess.
You don't ever, and I'm going to tell my girls this, you're not going to be able to get away with jack shit when it comes to computer. I will figure it out. I'm smarter than you when it comes to computers in general. And my wife especially. And, I just figured out, and I'm sort of ashamed of this, but I would scan the network for what she was doing. But really what she was doing was trading semi-nude pictures of herself with some guy that she went to high school with, and he was living up in Maine.
Could you see the pictures of the guy?
I did, and the guy was, this is a funny story. The guy that really...
God, I'm ashamed, Dan. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
How come you want pictures of the guy and not his wife or ex-wife?
I think he's apologizing for being that guy.
I didn't even get that. Go on. So
I did this big elaborate thing. For me, I just wanted to find out what was going on. As a man would have just confronted, maybe smacked her a few times, but I sort of,
instead Dan's like, oh look, she's sending her passwords in clear text. I will have all the mails in there forwarded to my account so I can keep up.
Details. I set up a Gmail account where this shit was forwarded to. It was a really elaborate scheme, and I was driving myself crazy because I was seeing sort of this in real time. So I ended up going out. I think it was like NFL playoffs were going on, and I was going to go out drinking with my buddies, and she's like, "Oh, go with your friends. Don't worry about it. I'll be here, fine." And I knew what she was doing, but I just went anyway, and ended up coming back and trying to bust her in the middle of the act. I don't even know what the act is. I don't know what she was doing with this material, but I knew that she had this thing with this guy.
So I end up home.
I'm driving home through this small town in North Carolina, and I'm out of my mind, and I'm just buzzing through town, and this cop is coming in the opposite direction, and he ends up, I guess it's simple math to figure out how fast someone's going. He ends up pulling me over, and he walks up and he goes, "Dan," or he goes, "Sir, do you know how fast we're going?" And I go, "Sir, I'm about to go home and catch my wife in the middle of an affair." I think is how I described it. And he goes, "Okay, well, license and registration." So he goes back to his car, checks it out, brings it back, and he goes, "Sir, I'm going to let you go. You have enough problems on your hands, but I don't want to read about you in the newspaper tomorrow." So he lets me go. I end up going back. Nothing's happening, but I end up finding pictures on the camera of her kind of in various states of undress.
But there's more. The pictures weren't on the camera.
Oh, the pictures. Yeah, that's a good point. So I don't know how much time we have here. The pictures, there was no pictures on the camera. It was actually it was wiped clean. And I'm like, that's interesting. We always have pictures of the kids or whatever. So there's obviously evidence that has been cleaned up. So me being, a computer crazy guy, there's ways of getting that material back. So I get the pictures back off of the flash card, and of course there's all the evidence in its glory. And, it's her, it wasn't horrible stuff, but it was her with her shirt off and, pictures of this guy, on their computer, and it was just, it was just a bad scene. And
this complete jackass is like, I sent you pictures with my shirt off. I need pictures of you with your shirt off.
Yeah, and he's sounding like a pro. It's like, okay, now it's your turn, and he sort of has that really creepy kind of, like picture in the bathroom with the camera in front of his face, like his iPhone, whatever, and snapping a picture in front of his eyes. What was that?
He said he was sorry.
Yeah, well, listen, this is funny. So I end up fast forwarding a little bit. I end up separating from her, and I'm a miserable wreck. I mean, I've been with this woman.
I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did she ever really cross the line, other than the pictures back and forth on the internet?
So let me ask you this. So what is crossing the line in this context? I mean, let me ask you this. Is that cheating? When she is...
That's what I'm asking you. Is that cheating? Because...
Absolutely cheating. In my mind, it's cheating.
Because some people would consider that very small.
Right. When you have in my book, if you have an emotional affair with somebody, and it's more than just, a loss of sanity for one given second. If you carry it forward, if you've got an emotional connection with somebody and you're trading fucking naked pictures with them, that is absolutely cheating. And from a female perspective, I can't speak for you, Miss Kitty, but, I think, I don't know. I think the physical stuff is actually even means less. If you've got a connection with somebody, even if it's virtual, that's not good. And I think that's cheating territory. I don't know. What do you think?
To me, it's cheating. It's somehow easier to get over than the physical side, though. Like, if I look, sometimes people stray in their marriage, right? I would hate it if it were mine, but people happens in marriages recover from this from time to time. I would find it more difficult to recover if she had gone that extra step and had the physical relationship too.
Oh, it would have been difficult, But the thing is, I confronted her, and in my little mind, I was thinking, she's caught with the evidence, and she's just going to sit there and drop to her knees and beg for forgiveness. Well, she's pissed off at me because I'm basically, I'm looking at her computer. I'm scanning the freaking network. I mean, I'm spying on her, and that's what she's pissed about. So, this was the beginning of the end of my marriage, and I actually look back and I'm thinking to myself, I could have done so many things different, and I could have kept on. I could have actually kept that marriage together, but I sort of made every mistake in the book. When you're caught in that situation, there's so many things you could be doing right, and there's so many things you could be doing wrong, and I did all the wrong stuff.
You might have said this before. How old were y'all when y'all got married?
So we got married. So I was dating this woman. I started at 21 years old, and we got married at 26, which, by the way, I think that's too young. I think you need to wait. And Woody's going to disagree with me because he got married really young. But in my opinion, I think you need to live life.
Was she 26 as well?
She was 24.
24?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because in my mind, I'm trying to defend her, and I'm thinking, but you both got married at a really young age, and maybe she was doing the online promiscuous stuff to try to keep herself from taking that extra step and taking it to a physical level to try to keep the marriage together.
Who are you, Dr. Phil?
No, you don't see what I'm getting at. Since she got married so young, she didn't really have one of those long party lines from her past.
Yeah,
and she was kind of reaching out for something exciting to try to keep herself from like going out with like the bus boy or the pool boy or whatever to get her kicks, so she could keep the marriage together.
Yeah, I mean,
so much ass.
What was that?
What'd you say, Kyle?
I said pool boys get so much ass.
That's gonna be my next career move, by the way.
There you go, man. We'll go into business together.
But we end up separating, and I'm just a miserable wreck. And what's funny is I end up landing at Woody's house. So I first off, I go to my parents, and that's the one place you don't want to go back to. It's like, for me, it's just the walk of shame to go back to your parents' house and live with them again. And they reminded me very quickly of why I didn't want to be there when I was 18 years old. And my parents are great in the sense that they will welcome you in, but they will do everything possible, subtle stuff, to make sure that you don't want to stay. I mean, they're going to make, your life a little bit miserable. And it was a reminder of just what I went through at 18. And they're great parents. I can't complain. But I got the hell out of there after about 2 weeks.